Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Digitech Dialogues on ETGovernment. I am T. Radhakrishna. The National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, in short, NABARD, is an apex regulatory body for overall regulation of regional rural banks and apex cooperative banks in India. It is under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Finance, Government of India. The bank has been entrusted with matters concerning policy, planning, and operations in the field of credit for agriculture and other economic activities in rural areas in India. NABARD is an active in developing and implementing financial inclusion. The institution has been instrumental in grounding rural social innovations and social enterprises in the rural hinterlands. As of May 2020, NABARD operates at 32 regional offices in the country. It has in the process of partnered with about 4,000 partnered organizations in grounding many of the interventions, be it SHG Bank Linkage Program, Tree-Based Tribal Communities Livelihood Initiative, Watershed Approach in Soil and Water Conservations, and increasing crop productivity initiatives through Lead Crop Initiative, or a dissemination of information flow to agrarian communities through farmers' clubs. Despite all this, it pays huge taxes too to the exchequer, figuring it in the top 50 taxpayers consistently. The organization had developed a huge amount of trust capital in its 3 decades of work with the rural communities. NABARD has its head office in Mumbai and regional office in all the states and one special cell in Srinagar in Jammu, Kashmir. It has 336 district offices across the country, which are staffed by the district development managers. Mr. Govinda Dr Chintala is the chairman of NABARD. After his graduation from the prestigious Agriculture College, Bapatla, Mr. Chintala did his post-graduation in seed science and technology from the world-renowned Indian Agriculture Research Institute in New Delhi. He is also the chairman of NABARD Consulting Services Limited, NAB Venture Limited, and NAB Foundation. He is on the board of prestigious institutions like Institution for Rural Management, DICGC, and on the advisory board of IIM Ahmedabad. Prior to taking over as a chairman, Chintala was managing director of NABARD Financial Services Limited. He has a vast experience of 35 years in NABARD. His key initiatives include digitization of the world's largest microfinance program under the project eShakti, roadmap for amalgamation of regional rural banks, promoting nurturing farmer producers organizations and livelihood enterprise development programs and area development schemes and alternative schemes. Sir, welcome to the ETGovernment.
Thank you.
So my first question to you, sir, what has been your experience in managing NABARD's huge mandate during the COVID-19 pandemic, and how tough it was to carry out your developmental operations in the field of credit for agriculture and other economic activities during the crisis?
Thank you, Radhakrishna. It's really a pleasure to talk to all of you. And the last year, that is the peak COVID period, and also this year, also in the beginning, the first 2 months were very tough, the financial year, but we could do very well during the last year's COVID period, as our results themselves show that we have clocked 24% growth rate over the previous year. And from 5.3 lakh crores, actually our balance sheet size has gone up to 6.57 lakh crores with all the good parameters, as you are telling, that with tax paying, everything, these are all the maybe corollary to the big business which we are doing. And as you are aware that NABARD has a very big mandate, and at the same time we work in, actually if I look into it, we work in 3 verticals. That is, one part is the business, other one is the development, and third is the supervisory. With regard to the business, we have a business with regard to extending refinance to the cooperative banks and RRBs for the short-term operations, that is the crop production operations. And we have a business for giving the long-term refinance to the same banks and also the commercial banks for the capital formation agriculture, because that is going to sustain agriculture forever. And the third one is that we have the business with regard to the CFF, that is extending money to the federations for procuring the food grains various states or corporations, actually, they are there in this one. And the fourth one is that RADF. Actually, as you are aware, that NABARD is one of the biggest purveyor of credit to the rural infrastructure in the last 27 years. And besides this, actually, we have supervisory function. And the supervisory function is we supervise the cooperative banks and RRBs in the country. And that is the mandate. We got it from the RBI. And so now, that during the last year, actually, what we have done was actually the moment the pandemic was announced, actually, everybody was wondering really what is going to happen. But we were of the firm conviction that agriculture cannot stop. People have to eat and somebody has to produce. And whether the pandemic is there or not, the monsoon will come and go and the season has to be harnessed. So now, knowing pretty well that actually this is going to happen, actually we geared up ourselves to meet all the exigencies. So that we have planned in such a way that now we will extend a credit line to the rural financial institutions so that they should not be constrained. Because during that first 2-3 months, people were absolutely perplexed whether to put money in the bank and really how other things to happen. But we started because that time this Atmanirbhar package, Government of India has announced, so that quite a lot of things the government has announced, and the government and RBI had put that now the liquidity has to be pumped into the system. So they gave, maybe announced that SLF, that is the long-term fund they have given. So now that long-term fund, actually, when they give that, the special liquidity facility, when they give that, it's not long-term, the special liquidity facility the government has given, that is RBI, it's around 25,000 crores. And it was to be pushed into the RRBs and cooperatives at the fastest pace because the agricultural operations were almost on the anvil by the time this entire thing has come. So the special liquidity facility, which we got from the RBI, we have immediately, I think within a period of 1 month, I think even before June itself, actually, we started pushing into the system. And that is why there was absolutely no cash crunch on the part of the rural banks and the cooperatives. Commercial banks also got the similar facility from the RBI. Then the government, RBI has given another thing called that another additional SLF. That is because the microfinance institutions and others, which were also having the big issue of repayments, because that moratorium was given to the clients, and at the same time, these institutions were not given the same moratorium. And they have a liquidity issue, so that RBI told that now these people also should be given. So they gave that additional SLF, another 5,000 crores, that also we started pushing. Then the next year, actually this year, when the new financial started, again that COVID was there in the last 2 months, that is the April and May. So that time RBI has come out with that, again that SLF2. Special liquidity facility. This time also it is 25,000 crores, and we have done wonderfully well and everything has come. So now here I would like to say that apart from this special liquidity facility, we had pumped in more money. As you recall, that Honorable Finance Minister had announced at that time that NABARD will give, apart from that 25,000, 90,000 crores, they will put another 30,000 crores. Now actually, to the benefit of the viewers, I will say that now against 90,000 crores, which we have done in 2020 March, actually we have given 131,000 crores during the year ending 21. So that additional 41,000 crores had been pushed into the system. That had eased quite a lot of things. And this is reflected in the entire overall credit to the agriculture. Actually, as you have seen that the credit to agriculture target was 15 lakhs, but at the end of the day, it is 15.78 lakhs was the achievement. So in that way, that during the pandemic, I can say that thanks to the government, thanks to the Reserve Bank, and also the efforts made by institutions like NABARD, commercial banks, RRBs and everything, everybody rose to the occasion, and we gave a tremendous amount of credit to the people so that they did not suffer. So this is one thing which I can say that we have done with regard to the credit part. The next one, what we have done is actually that the procurement, because we anticipated as the formulas were promulgated that time, and there was a tremendous pressure on maybe the system to procure every grain. I think even that thing is there even today also. So that we anticipated that most of the state corporations which are involved in the procurement would definitely require quite a lot of amount. Now you can say that in the previous year when we had given close to around 20,000 crores, Last year, we almost given close to 50,000 crores. Actually, that had eased quite a lot of procurement constraints on behalf of the corporations. Then the next one, what we have done is that now that during the same thing, that a long-term kind of a work also which we have to do, we have quite a lot of primary agricultural credit societies. So now, they have to be revamped. So if that is the case, actually, they have to be given a very big kind of a push to do a different kind of thing. So we conceived a scheme called the PACS as the multi-service societies. And for that, we gave a concessional refinance last year during the pandemic, saying that we will give money up to 2 crores at 4% interest. And another thing which we had done is the moment actually we did this scheme, and I was in touch with the government of India. Government had done under that infrastructure fund, that 1 lakh crores. Actually, they were giving 3% as the interest subvention. So we had dovetailed both the schemes. So ultimately, these primary societies are getting the money at 1%. I think nowhere else in the world this kind of a thing is there. And now today, almost close to 3,500 primary societies in the country have already got the sanctions, and many of them already started the work to construct all the things. And it is not that go down alone. Actually, there are around 9 or 10 purposes. Actually, they can have the cold storages, they can have logistics chain, they can have the ripening chambers, they can start the marketplaces, commonwealth centers. No, actually, a plethora of activities have come into this thing, and this had really helped the primary societies to rejuvenate and come into this kind of thing. And the next one we have done is that we have that watersheds. Actually, you may be knowing that NABARD over a period of 20 years or 25 years, we had done so much of a work for creating the moisture security in that dry areas. And so by spending almost close to around $500 million over a period of time, we could create this kind of a moisture security in almost around 2.5 million hectares. So now these 2.5 million hectares, they came into this one, but still the farmers are doing that maybe subsistence kind of thing, because they did not get quite a lot of a credit from the system. So now NABARD realized that this one, actually we create done a scheme, that is the refinance scheme for these watersheds at a concessional rate. This is again at 4%, and we put a cap that ultimate lending rate should not be more than 6.5%. And really good amount has already started flowing, and the scheme is continuing. So this has eased quite a lot of things for the entire thing. So that I am very happy with the new schemes. And also that the Prime Minister is talking about that hygiene, maybe all those things, and that maybe drinking water and all those things. So now there are many institutions, particularly at the lower level, NBFCs and MFI, they are working in this kind of a wash kind of a category, water, sanitation, and hygiene. And so though it is there, actually it is in a little muted. So actually to give a big push, actually we launched not only a campaign, we gave a concessional credit kind of a thing to this one. And this is a very big hit. Actually, today, if you see that most of the NBFCs and MFIs are borrowing 200, 300 crores, this is at a very concessional rate of around 4% or 5%. So now that particular segment is there. Actually, this is even meeting the sustainable development goals also. So in that way, quite a lot of things. So now this pandemic time, we had done maybe these things, and apart from that, interest subvention schemes of the government of Finland, they were implemented seamlessly so that the farmers have got it. And also the Kisan credit card campaigns were launched, and most of the people were covered. And also you may be knowing that government has announced a new Kisan credit card for the animal husbandry and fisheries. And these things we have taken despite the pandemic. Actually, our people were in the field, and all the bankers, they were also in the field, and now the things have happened. And it was a very good year. I can say that pandemic was very bad for the economy, but for agriculture, actually, it has turned out to be good, because collectively all the efforts of everyone has resulted in that 3.8% growth, and with a fantastic 310 million tons of food grains, 326 million tons of fruits, vegetables, and every other thing, cotton, wheat, and everything was good. So in that way, I feel that pandemic period, none of us sat back. We started acting, and actually, and these things have resulted in a very good kind of thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, how do you see the role of NABARD to promote farmers' entrepreneurship in agriculture sector as part of the government vision to double the income of farmers? Do you see any significant role from?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, it's a very valid question. Generally, people will not ask, but it's a very good thing because, as I told, that NABARD has got three different verticals. That is, if business is one part, the next one is this development. We have earmarked quite a lot of our profits and the funds to this kind of a thing. We have a farm sector promotional fund, we have a off-farm sector promotion fund, and we have a startup fund. We have, we got our subsidiaries called that NAB Ventures. All these things going to this kind of a new thing. Now, if I look into this thing that now maybe that farm sector promotion fund is the one which really give this kind of a push to the innovations at the ground level. Because the ventures are little different. Startups and ventures are a totally different kind of a commercial and other thing. But thing is, maybe at the ground level, somebody has to do the watershed, somebody has to do the tribal development, somebody has to do the innovation, somebody has to put the IoTs in all these things to demonstrate. Actually, now somebody has to give us a grant. So now our entire farm sector promotion fund is a grant-based kind of a thing. And as you told in the beginning, we work with 4,000 civil society organizations. These are the organizations which really go to that ultimate man at the ground, maybe the farmers. They aggregate the farmers, bring this kind of a thing, and they will say that actually now how the things can be done. Now, quite a lot of examples are visible, like take the case of IoT in agriculture. Actually now quite a lot of revolutionary things are happening. IoT is there everywhere. But one thing which I have seen and which I tell everywhere, really now the watersheds. Actually, we create a farm ponds in the watersheds. And generally a farm pond has got a capacity to irrigate around 10 acres or something like that. Now, in the same pond, actually, we have put that IoT-based kind of a sensors, and the auto walls were put in such a way. So now this 10 acres straight away had gone up to close to around 35 acres of irrigation because that precision irrigation has come into the picture. So now this demonstration had helped in such a way that afterwards many people started taking on their own. Actually, they can invest money, but thing is somebody has to do it. Now the drones, actually, we are trying to demonstrate, get the demonstrations, and trying to put such kind of drones for various things because they have that nano nozzles so that they can spray the pesticides and fungicides at such a kind of a precision, and they can save quite a lot of things, and at the same time they are very precise to the point where it has to be done. Likewise, now that the liquid fertilizer of nitrogen is the one which is really creating a very good kind of a thing where the nitrogen loss will be less, but thing is the absorption is very high. These things also we are trying to do it, and also maybe the horticulture, cold chains, maybe the most appropriate kind of maybe preservation technologies. All these things actually we are doing through this farm sector promotion fund. And the other one is we have that off-farm promotion fund. Actually, it's called Gramya Vikas Nidhi. Actually, now this is the one in the rural areas, as you are aware, that maybe 50% are the farming and remaining people are having the other kind of thing, the other dependent thing. Now, these people also have to be brought into the net. So now actually this off-farm promotion fund has been created to give that kind of a hand-holding to these people. So now here, as you are aware that in case of farm sector, we have promoted FPOs. Now in case of off-farm sector, we have called the OFPOs. Now these OFPOs, now this is maybe weavers or maybe artisans or maybe somebody, the tribals having that kind of a tribal craft or anything. These people, maybe 250 or 100 or 200 people will come together. Generally, that already they are working on that one. The skill sets are very high. Now we give them a kind of a money so that they can have a common place and they can have that good designer who got that market inputs and all those things. And they can try to link it to the markets. So now ultimately the production process is streamlined to the market. Now, there are many products of our OFPOs are already available on Amazon and Flipkart and other things. So that itself is a testimony that now these people are getting the benefit. Then maybe this is the off-farm sector, and this off-farm sector, Gramya Vikas Nidhi, we are working even for that, creating the rural incubation centers. That is that in the agricultural universities or IITs, we are creating that incubation centers where maybe 100, 200 incubators. will be handheld, and ultimately that in the next 3 or 5 years, actually all of them will come into this kind of thing. Actually, some of the incubators of NABARD's incubation centers, already they made it to the commercial kind of a thing, actually already in 1 or 2 cases. Now in case of Madurai, in case of Hyderabad, in case of Gwalior, then Hisar, so many places already, many kind of things are happening. So now we are very happy with that incubation centers. And this is in tune with the Prime Minister's aspiration, because the way he is talking that this is the era of startups and incubations, and these incubations are giving that kind of thing. So now we are doing it. And the major thing which we have done as kind of a promotional part, as you are asking, that the farm sector, collectivization of the farms is the biggest thing actually which has come, because NABARD had started this collectivization as FPOs 10 years back, somewhere in 2011. And with our own money and through some other grants which we got, actually almost close to 5,000 FPOs were promoted even before the central government scheme has come. Now, we could do the entire protocols as to really how these organizations will be formed and how they will be nurtured and how they will be linked to the banks, what kind of activities they can take up. Now, the government of India has come out with that CSS scheme. So now central sector scheme for these FPOs. Already that is also work in progress. Now, today, these collectivized farmers actually are going to be a big and formidable force. Actually, they are producing quite a lot of goods, maybe though agricultural commodities, but thing is they are doing the valuation at the same level. So now here, apart from promoting all these things, maybe by giving grant for promotion, NABARD has got a subsidiary called the NAB Kisan. This NAB Kisan right now is the largest financier of FPOs in the country. Almost close to 850 FPOs were financed by NAB Kisan, with a loan ranging from 50 lakhs to 5 crores also. Now that many of the FPOs have already reached, some of them have reached maybe 5 crores, 10 crores, 50, 20 crores turnover also. And still some are these things. So now here what we have done is, we have created a kind of a flow chart as to really how the FPOs will work. And at the same time, how the appraisal mechanism has to be there, how the ratings have to be done, because this is a new feed on the horizon. So now all these things are done. Now that IBA and others are also looking at that things which we have done. And we are very happy with that FPO kind of thing. So then the remaining also, maybe we do maybe few other things like that tribal development fund. Actually, you know that we have a tribal development fund.
Okay.
But the tribals in the identified, because our DDMs and with the through our regional office, we identify the tribals in that one cluster or maybe the contiguous geography. Maybe some 1,000 tribals with each one having around 1 acre of patta land. Otherwise, these people will not get any kind of a money from any of the formal system. So now what we are giving is, we are giving them almost 60,000 rupees grant for each tribal. And this time, this money is not given. Actually, we see to it that the tribe, their entire thing is taken into account as to what crops they will cultivate, whether it is mango, cashew, or any kind of thing. The good seedlings are sourced from nurseries, and they will be supervised to plant them, nurture them, and take it up to the next 4 or 5 years. So that now, over a period of maybe, I think around 10, 15 years right now, these tribal projects are there. We have created around 6.5 lakh hectares of the tribal projects. And some of the places, like if you can see, because you are from Karnataka, like Tumkur and few other places, Nelamangala, if you go, some of these tribals with around 1,000 acres in that one are almost generating 1 crore rupees of turnover every year, because it is organic mango, organic such kind of thing they are doing. So now this is creating a very big kind of a groundswell with these tribals and mainstreaming them. So now, during the COVID, we have given them that concessional finance to the tribals also. Suppose if they want to extrapolate this their activities to a little higher, to go into a kind of a little bit of processing, packing, grading, and all those things. For them also, we are going to. So now, these are the things which we have done in this entire thing. And also, we have that UPNRM, actually, it's a old scheme, Umbrella Program Natural Resource Management, where some of the innovative areas where generally bankers don't venture to give the things. where we are combined, because this is done in collaboration with the German government's fund. So we give both grant and loan to experiment, and some of them have turned out to be well, and some have got some kind of a troubles. I'm not saying that everything is hunky-dory, but definitely some of the new activities have come into this. And the fourth one, what we have done is that our NAB Ventures, actually that our venture capital fund is there. This NAB Ventures is a 500 crores fund, and now almost its closing is coming to that one. So now almost nearly around 75-80% of the funds have already come into the thing. So now through that we have done nearly around 8 venture capitals investments we have done. And some of them were very good. And the other thing which we have done is that whosoever is coming through this NAB Ventures, because basically they're all the agro ventures, we are trying to link those new ventures or new startups to our FPOs. So that actually there is a synergy there. Actually, FPOs are getting a definite market, and these new startups are creating the protocols as to really what they expect out of the FPOs. So in that way, it's a win-win situation. So many of the startups are also getting a traction because of this kind of a link also. So these are the things which we are doing in that entire thing. And apart from that, we do other things in the grant related to the institutions also. That is the FI, Financial Inclusion Fund, and others. And the microfinance, we do quite a lot. That is SHGs and giant liability groups and all those things. So now all those things are in place. And even during COVID time, everything has been done, and nothing has been stopped.
Sir, of course, you mentioned a couple of areas like IoT-based initiatives, drone-related initiatives. I just want to ask you, technology and data are becoming very effective tools in governance and managing operations of the organizations. How significant is the role of technology in NABARD and its financial inclusion initiatives?
Yeah, NABARD is seized of the issue, and actually we are very techno-savvy as a NABARD as an organization, but things we want all our maybe the people working with us also the same kind of a finesse they should have. So now our financial inclusion fund, and also we have a department called Department of Financial Inclusion and Banking Technology. Actually, we have an exclusive department. We created this department to give that exclusive focus to see that the banking institutions, particularly RFIs, rural financial institutions like RRBs and cooperatives, should not lag behind with regard to the technology and also in garnering the business from others. So in that way, that we have done, because now take the case of core banking solutions. Cooperative banks were not there in the CBS at all. So NABARD had done that entire work almost around 6 years, 7 years back, or maybe 8 years back. We started this one. Now all the central cooperative banks are on CBS with the NABARD's assistance and the scheme which we have rolled out. And Apex banks are already, actually they are on their own. So they are, so now all these things were done. So now this is the one part technology. Then the next step we are going with regard to technology, the primary agricultural societies are not on that any kind of a computerized kind of a thing. So now a new scheme actually which we have drafted 3 years back, it was approved, but now again it has been resurrected. Right now, new cooperation ministry has come. Now that scheme is there, so that entire packs, that is all the 100,000 packs also we want to put on a technology platform so that there will be a seamless kind of a connectivity from the packs level to the Apex bank or even to NABARD, government, whosoever wants it. This is one part. The next one is with regard to that regional rural banks and cooperatives, because now we give quite a lot of assistance to them to go for that POS machines, to go for that KYC, eKYC, to go for a few other things. Almost every kind of a technology which you talk about, which is there in the commercial banks, actually we want to put in that RRBs and cooperatives. All those things, actually maybe it is the UPI, BBPS, maybe CYKCR, everything has been put into this kind of thing. And we give quite a lot of a grant to them to start it. And afterwards, it will become their own activity, including some of the KCCs when they convert it into the electronic KCC. for the KCC cards, and also the transaction fee also was given. So in that way, these RFIs will get used to this kind of a new technology. So now we are doing quite a lot of work on that one. And the other one is with regard to this big data analytics, robotics, then that machine learning and artificial intelligence. Wherever actually there is a scope, actually we are trying to intervene and we are trying to push the technology. And we don't want anyone to lag behind, because one good thing that I can see, which I observed, was that technology has become maybe reasonably affordable and it's very democratic. So now that is what actually we want to bring. Every institution should give that kind of a freedom and choice to the customer. Actually, that he should not be constrained by this one. And interoperability also is the one which is happening everywhere.
Sir, another question. Many state governments have come out with a computerization of agricultural land records. For example, Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu. So everything you can access through the system. So do you see that, NABARD is aligned with or its regional rural banks, cooperative banks, because they normally are part of the service to the individual farmers? So do you see that NABARD is access to these kind of government data and you be part of their service?
No, actually, we are seized of the issue. Actually, we know. Actually, earlier once when Planning Commission Niti Aayog was asking, we did quite a lot of work as to really where this is happening, what are the things. So now, some states have done wonderful job, and already that entire banking records are there on their portals, and banks can create charge without even asking anyone, and the entire thing is available. But at the same time, some states are still the work in progress. NABARD is not directly doing anything with this one, but at the same time, we are pushing all our RFIs, that is, who are our people, that maybe that is RRBs, corporates, and others, to get access to those records and try to create systems so that actually the documentation and everything can be done seamlessly. So that NABARD directly we do not have, but thing is we want to encourage this one, and wherever we go, because as a chairman, generally I meet the chief minister. So now this is one agenda which we take it up with the chief ministers as to really how the land records computerization and the geofencing, actually these are the things which are required so that the banks can give loan without any kind of apprehensions. So now that is happening, and it may, because the whole of the country, it may take maybe a few more years, but definitely things are happening.
So Ministry of Finance is leading the Digital India program and promoting the adoption of technology across all the ministries and the institutions. Do you see that NABARD alignment with the government vision like Startup India, Make in India, maybe some of the initiatives which are part of your family group, NABARD?
Yeah. NABARD is totally in tune with what the government of India thinks, and we are there almost in every meeting. Actually, we are also there. So wherever it is required, actually, we are pitching in. And that DBT, now the PFMS linkage, everything, even that to the rural cooperatives and RRBs, which have got some glitches. Actually, most of things are being sorted out. And now we want to do everything, whatever the government is thinking. And I think a time may come, maybe in another few years, I think it will be totally maybe mechanized kind of a things which will happen. Now that, as you are telling, that stacks, actually now that India stack is there, which everybody is using. Agri stack, everybody is talking about. In case if that comes, actually, that will create a new kind of a things to this thing, so that the entire agriculture operations, vendors, bankers, insurers, and the value chainer, everybody will be there on that kind of a portal, and things will be very good. And whenever somebody is trying to, because we are also in talks with many of the, because it's not a one-man job, but thing is, in case if that comes, we will be there to join them, and we are trying to give this one and link everything to the technology. Now that blockchain everybody is talking about, actually now the similar kind of a thing can happen. And in this part, actually we can say that now recently we had a meeting with the government. Now that entire KCC kind of a thing, we want to create the entire on the techno platform, so that a time may come the entire application, almost like that under 59 type of a thing, should happen for that agriculture also, so that the application lodged anywhere should be getting maybe the process somewhere and things should happen. So now we are also doing this.
So this March, you took over as a chairman of APRACA, an international body of 24 nations with close to 88 members. A very significant development for NABARD and the nation as well. What are your ongoing priorities in this position apart from regular mandates, sir?
Yeah, this APRACA, that is Asia Pacific Regional Association. It's a 24-member organization and which does quite a lot of maybe advisory and also a hand-holding in some places and other things. Actually, this is the main role of this one, and they take the technology because from one place to other place, they try to do the thing. So now NABARD India, actually not only NABARD India, after quite some time, India had got the opportunity to lead that organization. And I was elected as the chairman and vice chairman was the Chinese bank. And so that our priorities, actually what we fixed was that now the climate change is one thing which is really affecting these nations. I think maybe entire globe is affected, but thing is some countries are worst affected. Now take the case of all the members countries here, whether it is India, Bangladesh, Vietnam, maybe Cambodia, or Fiji, China, all these countries are affected in a much worse way when compared to some other countries, and because we are subject to the vagaries. So now our target is to see that that climate change issues are addressed and the climate resilient banking products are devised, and the mitigation and the adaptation, really how the nations have to take into this one, because agriculture in all these countries, there's almost similar. Actually, they have a similar kind of ethos, similar kind of a very, very small farms, and they have the same kind of issues. So actually that really how the good practices in one country can be transported to the other countries and how they can become resilient. Now here, a few things were regarding our FPOs. Actually, it is not there in many other countries, but when our FPOs concept has been explained and the case studies were given and all those things, actually people were very excited, many countries, because there also that fragmentation was very high and they also want to go for this one. Apart from this, this climate resilient products and the green financing. Now, these are the things which we have to work on it. The moment actually that green financing, because now many institutions in India are doing it. In case that comes, actually we will also try to take it to those things and also learn from others. So APRACA is trying to go, despite because of the pandemic, actually only the virtual meetings are being held. Otherwise, actually we want to have a much bigger agenda, as the climate change is really now affecting everyone. The time has come for all these nations to put their things in proper shape, and they should devise the methodologies for the mitigation, adaptation, besides creating that kind of a products which are resilient. Otherwise, the farmers will have a real tough time in this one. So that is where we are working on it.
So my last question, sir. We hear that a lot of state governments are demanding to enhance the credit limit to their respective states. What are your top priorities for this financial year ending maybe next 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, because many of the state governments are asking, particularly the RIDF. It's a concessional finance. So now, as you are aware that last year, because of a good performance, actually the 30,000 crores was the last year's limit, and we could almost disburse close to around 29,500 crores, which was a record. Last year, despite because of the pandemic, quite a lot of a disbursement also had happened. Many of the state governments have aware. So with that in view, actually we requested the government of India to increase the limit, and they increased it to 40,000 crores. Now already we are doing, so many of the state governments, we are giving that higher limits when compared to the previous, like almost it goes by around 1/3 of this one. But as you are telling that some state governments have got an insatiable appetite because their maybe requirements are very high and they are embarking on a very big projects. So now what we are doing actually here, I can say that some of the state governments during the pandemic have realized that they should create a very good medical infrastructure, health related. So now that Assam, for that matter, actually never it was a very big state for NABARD to avail the RIDF big amounts of things. The new chief minister had discussions with us almost 2 or 3 times, and he told that he wants to create the medical infrastructure. So now 2 medical colleges, actually they are coming, 2 or 3 medical colleges they are taking, and already NABARD has got another line of credit called the NEDA, NABARD Infrastructure of Interest. Under that they are taking. Likewise, many other state governments, actually wherever I am meeting the chief ministers, they are trying to go for that kind of a health infra, irrigation infra, then the roads and other things are very traditional. And at the same time, they want to even have a blended product of the RADF and the NEDA so that actually interest rates will be very distinct. So now many of the state governments are, as you are telling, that they are now thinking of upping their entire infrastructure kind of a thing. So now that is there. And here I will say that last one is that we have created a new product called RIAS, Rural Infrastructure Assistance Scheme, that is for the eastern states. So now it is yet to get traction, but there's quite a lot of interest has been generated from among the states in that eastern region. They want to take this kind of a RIAS kind of a things to create their infrastructure. Because now during the pandemic, many people have realized how poor infrastructure had really costed them. So now I think that is happening. And it's a very good thing for the nation as a whole. The good infrastructure is always good for the nation.
So thank you very much, sir, talking to ETGovernment and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Radhakrishna. Thank you.